걸음마를 떼던 순간 두발 자전거를 처음 타던 날 넘어지고 일어서며 균형을 잡듯이 아이들은 자기주도 학습을 통해 스스로 꿈을 설계하는 힘을 키우고 있습니다. 점수를 올리는 기술이 아니라 내 삶을 스스로 꾸려가며 성장하는 아이들. 정해진 답을 외우는 대신 스스로 묻고 스스로 찾아가는 배움으로 아이들은 세계를 넓혀갑니다.
Our children are learning to build their own dreams. Education that is not about getting the highest score, but learning how to build your own life. Asking why rather than jumping to an answer. Learning through asking and searching. Broadening the children's world.
학교와 함께 자기주도 학습의 기반을 다져나가고 성장 눈높이에 맞춰 아이들이 스스로 공부해 나갈 수 있는 힘을 키웁니다.
Schools and children building the foundation of self-directed learning together. Strengthening self-directed learning capabilities through education support for each growth stage.
이 캠페인은 아이들의 꿈을 밝히는 신뢰도 높은 공교육, 부산광역시 교육청이 함께합니다.
아직 어렵게 느껴지는 영어. 아이들 영어는 어떻게 챙기시나요? 부산 영어방송이 준비한 어린이 영어 콘텐츠 세상. BFM 키즈 영상 채널이 여러분을 찾아갑니다. 샘 해밍턴과 윌 벤저스 그리고 모모랜드 낸시가 함께하는 BFM 키즈에서 영어로 듣는 부산 설화와 전래동화, 재밌는 파닉스 영어, 신나는 K-팝 영어까지 만나보세요. 우리 아이의 영어 실력과 창의력을 쑥쑥 키워줄 특별한 어린이 영어 채널 BFM 키즈가 여러분을 기다립니다. 지금 바로 BFM 키즈를 검색하고 구독해주세요.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
We have been inundated with personal data breach stories this past year in particular. And the SK Telecom breach, that was one of the biggest ones we reported on recently. Well, the Korea Consumer Agency yesterday ordered SK Telecom to pay 100,000 won in compensation to each user as a result. And this decision comes at the heels of the Personal Information Protection Commission slapping SK with a record 134.8 billion won fine. So under the decision, SK will have to offer a 50,000 won reduction in monthly fees and 50,000 won in credits usable as cash equivalents. And SK has 15 days to respond to this. But is this enough to wipe away the displeasure that we've collectively been feeling about the state of personal data breaches? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Monday, December 22nd on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. Welcome to Morning Wave in Busan on this Monday morning. This is the Monday before Christmas, so I hope that whatever you need to have done, that's done, or you have a few days left. It's okay. Whether SK Telecom accepts the verdict by the Korea Consumer Agency or not, we'll have to wait and see. And Claire's going to cover this in depth later on in hour number 2. In the meantime, we're going to look back to last week. One of the biggest political events from last week was the live-streamed government briefings. The first ever live broadcast of ministerial and departmental briefings covered 228 institutions with 28 hours of live coverage in 6 days. So these sessions garnered a lot of attention with unedited real-time coverage of the president grilling government employees and debating various issues. President Lee Jae-myung emphasized the need for economic sanctions against corporate wrongdoing rather than criminal punishment, while ordering for a strict punishment against stock manipulation. For government officials, some of them candidly spoke about the realistic difficulties on the scene in getting some of their tasks done. So, how were these sessions received by the public? That's the big question. On the positive side, pundits say that the president showed his strengths as an experienced administrator and boosted communications with the public via these sessions. Of course, there's also criticism stemming from some of the more high-profile moments. There was the verbal sparring with the CEO of the Incheon International Airport Corporation over the so-called dollars hidden inside books. That whole fiasco referring to illegal or unreported smuggling of foreign currency out of the country. The presidential office said that the intention behind these sessions is to show the people that the government is willing to put itself under a so-called CCTV, right? And to be surveilled by the people. And that was certainly a transparent look into the government's workings. But now the real task is to turn these discussions into policy and action. So that is how we're going to kick off Morning Wave in Busan on this Monday morning. Let's go to our text topic. Here we go. If you are on a tight budget, what is the first thing you cut down on versus something you still have to do or are willing to spend on? So basically, the first thing that you're going to cut out and versus something that, no, you know, times are tough, but I'm going to hang on to this one. 자, 지갑 사정. 빠듯할 때 내가 먼저 줄이는 것은 뭘까요? 반대로 이거는 무조건 유지한다. So I want to hear from both sides. Let me know. Send in your messages to BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform and type in BEFM, 부산 영어 방송, to find our channel. You can subscribe, log in, and chat with other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. So type in BEFM or 부산 영어 방송 to find our account. Add us as a friend first, and you can send in your messages, photos as well. And the ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan, if you're in Busan on the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM, depending on where you are in Busan. We're streaming live on YouTube as we speak. You can watch again at your leisure. And we're available on the BEFM app and also the Papang app. Both are free and easy to download. So it is Monday. Here's a lineup. We have our daily segments now in Busan. That's with Jian, Haley with top stories, and Waglwagle at tea time. We have Vasana in hour number 1 for a profile check. We also have Claire, like I said, coming in for news in depth. And then for our special interview today, we're going to be talking about the fact that Venezuela has been declared a foreign terrorist by U.S. President Donald Trump. So what does this mean? Because we've been covering the relationship between U.S. and Venezuela and, of course, those oil tankers as well. So let's find out more in hour number 2, and I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06, and this is News Overview. Special counsel expected to indict ex-first couple. The Minjungi Special Counsel is expected to indict former President Yoon Suk-yeol and his wife Kim Gun-hee this week as its investigation period ends on December 28th. SKT ordered to pay 100,000 won per consumer over data leak. The Korea Consumer Agency ordered SK Telecom to pay 100,000 won per user in compensation in a consumer dispute mediation case following its massive data breach earlier this year. Seoul and Washington to hold simultaneous discussions next year on summit agreements. South Korea and the United States will have several discussions at once next year on implementing agreements reached in the summit between their leaders, said National Security Advisor Wi Sung-nak. "26 South Koreans arrested and 1 rescued in Cambodia. 26 South Korean nationals were apprehended during a joint police crackdown at a scam center in a Cambodia-Vietnam border town last week, with one Korean freed from confinement, according to the National Police Agency. Israel approves new Jewish settlements in occupied West Bank. Israel has approved a proposal for 19 new Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank and the government's push in the territory that poses a further threat to the possibility of a Palestinian state. This was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Jian in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you had a good weekend.
I did.
Good. So we're talking about this. Like, if you're in a tight budget, what's the first thing to go versus something that, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to hang on to this. So what is it?
When one is tight, I think I try to cut off a little bit of my transportation fee.
Oh, how?
I'd rather walk or take a bike. Even in the morning, I'm taking a bike to come to work. But something that I can't give up is definitely the food. I can't give up that Dubai chewy cookie. Have you tried it?
Oh, yes. I know it's like such the rage right now, right? So trendy. But so you would rather cut down on transportation costs than food. For me, it's like, like drinks.
Drinks. Like
I'll
alcohol?
cut out drinks. No. Drinks as in like even going out for like coffee. I try to cut down on like, okay, so I'll pass on the tea time, on the, I always get one in the morning, but sometimes in the afternoon I'm tempted to grab another one.
Sure.
And then I stop myself. Yes, it's hard, but
That's sad.
Yes, you got to do that. All right, we're going to jump into Now in Busan. We have been sharing a lot of positive news about Kimhae International Airport. So, Jian, I hear there was finally a milestone worth highlighting this time, right?
That's right. A commemorative event was held last Friday on the 19th to mark Kimhae International Airport finally surpassing 10 million international passengers for the first time since its opening.
Yes.
Opened in 1976, Kimhae Airport reached 5 million international passengers in 2015 and entered the era of 10 million international passengers just over a decade later. After nearly hitting the mark in 2018, passenger numbers dropped sharply due to the Japan travel boycott in 2019 and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, but have since shown a rapid recovery.
Yes. So can you give us more details on flight operations and passenger capacity at this airport?
Currently, Kimhae Airport operates 1,546 international flights per week across 42 cities, representing a 118% increase compared to 1,306 weekly flights serving 41 cities at the end of 2018.
Yes.
Recently, the airport has been expanding mid to long-haul routes. Air Busan's Busan-Bali route launched in October last year, recorded an average peak season load factor of over 80% and carried about 67,000 passengers annually. This year, Kimhae Airport opened its longest route to date, a direct Busan-Tashkent service, the first Central Asia route from a regional airport, with a Busan-Almaty route set to follow next year.
So we're on the up and up at Kimhae International Airport. Thanks for the update on this. Next up, there are concerns about the risk of falling rocks at a temple in Dongnaegu district. So tell us more about the situation.
Dongnaegu District Office has conducted an on-site inspection after concerns were raised over the risk of falling rocks from a massive exposed rock at Okpulsa, a temple in Gyeomgangdae. The exposed rock is a large bedrock formation stacked in layers like a stone pagoda, reaching about 10 meters above ground. Parts of the rock are leaning toward the temple and nearby hiking trail, raising concerns that delays in safety measures could lead to injuries or casualties.
Right, so it does sound like urgent action is needed in this situation. Why has the response been delayed?
The district office also determined that safety measures are necessary, but has been unable to begin emergency construction as available budgets have been exhausted toward the end of the year. Installing safety wires is being considered as a countermeasure, but the project cost is estimated at around 300 million won, making it difficult to secure funding.
Sure.
As a result, concerns among visitors are growing. The district office said it plans to seek national and city funding by designating the surrounding area as a landslide-prone zone and will also ask the Busan metropolitan government whether disaster management funds can be allocated.
I see. So end of the year with the budget being depleted. Well, I certainly hope that they can get that fixed. Next up, we're hearing some good news for local farmers and fishers in Gijang County. So what's the story here?
Gijang County is introducing a public benefit allowance to support the income of local farmers and fishers. Under the program, about 600,000 won per person will be provided for the first time this year. The beneficiaries include approximately 2,000 farmers and around 270 fishers in the county.
So what led to the decision to offer this kind of financial support?
Earlier, Gijang County enacted an ordinance on providing allowances for farmers and fishers and secured the necessary budget. The county explained that farmers and fishers carry out very important public functions, such as maintaining food security and sustaining rural communities, but face relatively low income levels. It added that the support is intended to ensure sustainable agriculture and fisheries and said it will continue making financial and institutional efforts to support local farmers and fishers.
I see. Thanks for telling us about that story. Next up, Busan has received meaningful recognitions from UNICEF. So what's going on here? What happened?
Busan announced that it was officially confirmed for renewal of its UNICEF Child-Friendly City certification by the UNICEF Korea Committee. The UNICEF Child-Friendly City designation is based on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child and evaluates whether children's perspectives are reflected across policies, budgets, and administrative systems. Busan first became the nation's first metropolitan city to receive the certification in 2019, and with this renewal, the status will be maintained through December 18th, 2029.
So can you explain what this certification involves and how this renewal review was conducted?
This certification is not a simple declaration or a one-time project. It assesses whether children's perspectives are consistently and systematically integrated into policymaking, budgeting, and administrative processes based on the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Yes.
In particular, the renewal review applies stricter standards than the initial certification from various perspectives. Busan Mayor Park Hyung-jun, who attended the final review committee meeting on December 1st, said the city will continue to pursue consistent and responsible policies so that every child in Busan is respected and all citizens can feel secure.
I see. Well, thank you for telling about this plus all the local news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Jian.
Thank you.
I'll be back with your traffic and weather. It's time for your traffic report. There is congestion on the Dongso overpass from Hwangyong Tunnel to the old Gaegeum Tollgate. It's also backed up from Ulsukdo Bridge to Luno Samsongdaero, the Myeongji Underpass, and again from the underpass to Shinho Bridge. There is traffic on the top portion of Gwangan Bridge right now. It's also slow on Chungnyeoldaero from Minam to Daesung intersection. So today is winter solstice, known as 동지, the longest night and the shortest day of the year. And it is a chilly one. We're sitting at 0 degrees right now with a daytime high going up to 10 degrees. Across the nation, a sudden drop in temperatures across the Gyeongsang area with most of the country seeing sub-zero temperatures. This was your traffic and weather. And this is It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Andy Williams.
Wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling and everyone telling you be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's the happiest season of all. Those holiday greetings and gay happy meetings when friends come to call. It's the happiest season of all. There'll be parties for hosting, marshmallows for toasting, and caroling out in the snow. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. It's the most wonderful time of the year. There'll be much mistletoeing and hearts will be glowing when loved ones are near. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most wonderful time. Oh, the most wonderful time of the
It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you had a good weekend.
I did. I went up to Seoul to meet up with my friends who are visiting from Seattle. They're going to come down to Busan. 30,000 steps were walked. You know, the usual.
The usual
Yes,
Haley
yes.
weekend. Yes. All right. Well, text topic. If you're on a tight budget, what's the first thing to go versus what is something that you cannot cut out?
Honestly, I'm the opposite of Tsun. So I will I'll cut down on my food budget. So there's lots of 냉장고 파먹기. Like there's so much stuff in the freezer anyways.
Yes.
Like, you know, we meal prep, we get the leftovers, we make the mishmash of whatever.
Yes.
Stews are great because you don't need to know what's in it.
You just throw everything in there.
Exactly. And then I will eat out less, but then I can't cut down on transportation. Because I don't know how to ride a bicycle. So
Not just that, your dad like drives you
well,
everywhere.
that's true, but I do pay him for gas. By the way, I don't pay. He provides free labor, but that's
Aw.
yeah. So I do pay him for gas, and gas without I can't control gas prices, so tis what it is.
I say hello to Haley's dad more often than I do my dad. 매일 아침마다.
This is true. And she's like,
All right, we're going to jump into our first story. The Unification Church political link scandal has been growing with an ongoing trial and a new police investigation opening up.
All right, so first let's talk about the trial. Unification Church's leader, Han Akja, issued standing trial for the violation of Political Funds Act and also the Anti-Graft Act. So here the special counsel revealed their recount of how the church allegedly discussed ways to exert political influence, and this came apparently ahead of the the 2022 presidential election via the church's meeting minutes or records.
I see. And what did the minutes say?
Right, so the documents that were released in court, they go back to the meeting that took place in October of 2021. That was 5 months before the presidential election. So one executive said, quote, "Our goal is to enter the presidential office as an aide. The second goal is to get the party nomination rights, whether it be the ruling or the opposition party, to allegedly pick a candidate to throw the church's support behind."
Oh.
And the ultimate goal, according to the records, was to try for the presidential office by the year 2027. So one official of the church, Myung-hyung, testified as a witness, said that he thinks they discussed whom to support for the presidential office, with the underlying reason being this other official, top official, Yoon Young-ho's desire to expand the church's political influence.
Yes.
The council also submitted into evidence a document saying that some 11,000 church followers joined the People Power Party as members.
Yes, but the scandal has expanded to the Democratic Party as well, with former Oceans and Fisheries Minister Chun Jae-soo now facing a police investigation.
Right, so Chun is facing charges of having allegedly received some 20 million won in cash and also luxury watches worth 10 million won in exchange for favors pertaining to the church's plans to build an underwater tunnel connecting South Korea and Japan. So Chun was questioned for 14 hours on Friday by the police, but he spoke to the press after the questioning and he said he diligently answered questions and emphasized that he has never received any money or material goods from the church.
I hear this investigation hasn't been easy for the police.
Right, because number one, there's nothing known about the details of this so-called exchange, and the police have not secured the watch either, so they have not gotten the smoking gun evidence. The biggest hiccup, however, is from who was supposed to be the star witness, church official Yoon Young-ho again. He is the one that testified about the alleged money exchange.
Right.
However, now he claims that he's never said that.
Oh.
Also, the statute of limitations on the allegations runs out at the end of this year. So that is a ticking time clock.
Okay. Thanks for giving us the latest on this story. Let's move on. We often look at job numbers for the younger population, but job figures for those in their 40s, these are causing concern.
Right. Usually when we're looking at the job market, we're looking at either end, right?
Yes.
Younger people, 20s and 30s, are they getting their foot into the labor market? And the older seniors, because their pensions are not due yet, but they've retired, are they getting enough income? We don't, not ignore, but we just kind of take the middle part
Sure.
for granted because they're supposed to be stable. They're supposed to be,
right.
you're doing your job, you're
Sure.
making money. Apparently not. So they are hiring spending numbers. According to the Ministry of Data and Statistics last month, the number of employed people in their 40s, newly employed people in their 40s, came to, or overall, 6.15 million. This is down by 9,000 compared to the same time last year.
Okay.
This also, however, marks the 41st consecutive months of declining employment for people in their 40s. So we're seeing job numbers go down since July of 2022.
Yes.
Also, the number of employed people in their 50s, that is now higher than the number of employed people in their 40s.
So what accounts for this decline?
Right, so this, of course, number one, we have the backdrop of the population. There are actually fewer people in their 40s than in their 50s, and with the lower birth rate, that figure is going to continue to go down. But it also speaks to the types of jobs that are available. So workers in their 40s, they account for a core of the manufacturing, 제조업 industry.
Right.
But that industry hasn't been performing well. Also, for even larger corporations, we're seeing voluntary retirements go up, or corporations are asking for people even as young as in their 40s to
Wow.
voluntarily retire and take a severance check in the form of their corporate restructuring.
Yes, and again, this is concerning for the economy overall.
Right, because they are the core. They're the backbone. They're supposed to be making the most money and also spending the most.
Yes.
So according to government data, your peak income comes at the age of 45. On average, 44 million won per year. And then this is also when theoretically the biggest spending, the big ticket items, right? You're likely buying your home. You probably, if you have children, child rearing and education costs. However, if hiring numbers are going down and the paycheck isn't hitting your bank account regularly, that affected their spending. So spending for people in their 40s only went up by 1.4% in the third quarter of this year.
Yes, and to that end, there's been a decrease in spending on something that we thought would never happen. So what is it?
Education.
Private
학원. Which, you know, if you have kids, and then your child says, "Hey, mom, I want to take like English lessons, or I think I need extra math lessons."
Right.
You're gonna be applauding the child, but not saying, "Oh, we can't," but we can't. So this is the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic that we've seen a decrease in the spending of private education. Again, according to the data ministry, in Q3, the third quarter, private education spending for families with unmarried children came to 413,000 won per month, 41만 3천 원, which is a 0.7% decrease, marking the first drop after an 18-month consecutive increase.
Yes.
These private education fees, by the way, include anything as young as for toddlers, so like English education, English kindergartens to adult children, because your technically adult child could be trying for the CSATs again, so lessons like that.
Right.
And this is, of course, a representative indicator for the category. What's notable is that for the past 5 years, essential spending on things like food, rent, even utilities, they've fluctuated somewhat. They've gone up and down. However, we've always seen private education basically maintaining. It hasn't budged until now.
Yes. So what accounts for this change now?
I mean, even rent, food, utilities, parents have managed to cut things down, but managed to keep private education still. But they just can't take it anymore. So for some households, with unmarried kids, they spent 68% of their disposable income. That rate has only gone up by 1.9%, while their disposable income went up by over 5%. Okay, so what does this actually mean?
Yes.
Basically, their spending power or the ability to afford spending, that's gone down. This was even more notable for middle-class families whose private education spending went down by over 20%, as opposed to the top income earners. They've only had to cut down by about 3%. So big difference here.
Yes.
So what consumer experts are telling us is that usually families will keep private education steady, right? Because they think of this as investment for the future, for their children. But the decline shows how strapped households are right now with the high cost of living.
Yes. This is kind of surprising, but I can understand why. All right, for our final story, we're going to go to the Epstein Files story. So we need a lowdown.
Right, so a busy weekend on this front as the U.S. Justice Department of Justice, DOJ, they released an initial round of documents related to late Jeffrey Epstein after Congress passed a law mandating the release.
So you said it was an initial round, which implies that it's not the entire story. There's more?
Which is one of the controversies because the law said all of the files must be released. They're being released in batches. It's the first batch. Includes names like former U.S. President Bill Clinton. He was pictured in a pool and a hot tub. Formerly Prince Andrew, but he's been stripped of that title, so he's now just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He seems more telling of his pictures because he's lying on laps of multiple women whose faces have been redacted, and musicians like Mick Jagger and Michael Jackson. By the way, being named or even with your photo here in the files is not an indication of wrongdoing.
True.
Because many of those identified in the files or previous releases related to Epstein, they've all denied wrongdoing.
So what about U.S. President Donald Trump?
Right, so that was one of the key points of contention.
Yes.
A couple of photos, we'll get to that in a bit, but he's mentioned in the files. Court documents detail that Epstein allegedly introduced a 14-year-old girl to Trump at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. But in response, the White House said that the Trump administration was the, quote, most transparent in history as they released the files. His press secretary also reposted images of former President Clinton with the caption, "Oh my."
A day later, though, there was another twist to this story.
So this story just keeps evolving because a day after the release, the DOJ removed over a dozen files, including a photo of President Trump. So AP tallied 16 files. The documents included images of paintings depicting nude women, and separately a photo of a photograph of Trump alongside Epstein, wife Melania Trump, and his Epstein's, longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes.
So this prompted, naturally, immediate pushback from Democrats and even some Republicans, including legal threats. And this has fueled speculation about what was taken down and why was the public also not notified about this.
So was there an explanation provided for the removal?
Actually, yes. So after the removal and after all the backlash, Deputy U.S. Attorney said on Sunday local time that removing the pictures actually came from the request of the victims' advocacy groups because they were apparently not, some of the faces or the names were not redacted well enough to protect the victims, and that it had nothing to do with the president.
Okay, well, this story just, keeps on evolving.
It never ends.
Well, thank you for going over all the top stories, and we'll check in with you in hour number 2, so thank you.
See you in a bit.
Everybody, this was Haley. Now it's time for another song, Silver Bells by Tony Bennett.
City sidewalk, busy sidewalks, dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, meeting smile after smile. And on every street corner you will hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day. City street lights, even stoplights, blink a bright red and green as the shoppers rush home with their treasures. Hear the snow crunch, see the kids bunch. This is Santa's big scene, and above all the bustle you will hear silver bells, silver bells. It's Christmas time in the city. Ring-a-ling, hear them ring. Soon it will be Christmas Day.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, our text topic today. If you're on a tight budget, what's the first thing that you give up versus what is something that, no matter what, still got to pay? Well, I'm going to read just a couple messages. First up, let's talk about Jenny in Hong Kong, who says, I can't cut down on shopping for clothing and makeup. And of course, I maintain food expenses because, you got to eat. I get it. We have another message from Souvenir who says, today 토픽을 영어로 적고 싶지만 실력이 부족한 관계로. Oh, by the way, we welcome messages in any language, Korean, English, or some other language. I will, put it through the translator if needed because those are the two languages that I can kind of speak, right? So, 예산이 부족할 때는 외식비를 먼저 줄입니다. So he writes, when things are tight, the first thing I cut out or cut down on is eating out. But I really agree with this sentiment because eating out is usually, not always, but usually more expensive than eating in. 네, 못 줄이는 거는 통신비. Something that he can't cut down on are telecommunication costs, meaning, what you pay for in terms of cell phone or mobile phone providers, those fees. And he says, 이미 알뜰로 최대한 줄여놓은 상태라. Oh, so he already is on the very, very economically, the lowest of the phone plans that you can get. So that's actually true. How can we cut down on things like that? On your, utilities like phone. Do you not turn on the boiler? I don't know. I did have a little discussion with my roommate because he left the boiler on all day Saturday. We were out all day. We came home. It was toasty. 너무 따뜻했어요 when we got home. It was kind of nice for 2 seconds and I'm like, oh, you left it on all day. And so he did not get dinner that day. All right. So let's get into profile check. It's time for profile check. We have Vasana in the house. Good morning.
Good morning.
You had a look of just shock.
No dinner?
No dinner. What I really mean is I was kind of well, since you just wasted a lot of money.
Was that a euphemism? No dinner?
No.
Sorry.
No. Not that kind.
Okay.
The no dinner meant basically if you're hungry, make yourself some lemon. was my take since you wasted so much money on running the boiler while we were at least the 4 cats and the rabbit were nice and toasty all day. So
you had rabbit?
Yeah, Jackson. My rabbit Jackson. You don't know Jackson?
I thought you ate the rabbit.
No, I
I just saw a cooking show on the weekend and they cooked rabbit.
I know some people, yes, cultures enjoy rabbit.
It was yummy.
No, my pet. Yeah. No.
I ate rabbit growing up. It was yum.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. Yes. Text topic for you. What's the first thing that you cut out of your,
alcohol.
budget? Alcohol. 술.
Yeah.
Because that adds up.
That does add up.
And it adds up in calories too.
Yes. So I didn't drink for a whole year. One time.
Ooh.
Not because of saving money, but that was a
goal?
Health move. Also trying to cut down on my weight, and
yes,
it worked.
It worked.
It was when my son was born, and I realized I needed to stay alive to look after him.
Well, yeah, 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah, I like.
So I lost a bit over 30 kilograms. So.
I know. You went on a huge diet, I remember. You look fantastic.
I'm down.
So, all right. Let's jump into profile check. So, who are we going to cover today?
Today, we are starting with a tribute to Rob Reiner.
I'm so glad you're covering him.
Yes, I thought you guys might have covered him already.
Well, we did, of course, of what happened, of the murder of him and his wife.
So that was the tragedy, and we don't want to go into that story.
Right.
So obviously we go into his life here.
Yes.
So some of our listeners may know some of his movies, and you may have even mentioned it last week.
Yes.
This is Spinal Tap, which some of our younger listeners might not know.
They're like, what is that?
Stand By Me.
Oh, such a goodie but oldie.
The Princess Bride, which some may not know also, but everybody knows When Harry Met Sally.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Especially that scene.
That scene is so famous and infamous.
Yes. Misery. A Few Good Men.
Wow.
Can you handle the truth? You want the truth?
Jack Nicholson.
Do you want the truth?
Tom Cruise. Love it.
Just to name a few, but there's so many more. There's so much more that we could probably spend the whole 10 minutes talking about it. But before he was a director, like a lot of directors, he acted. So a lot of people first knew him as Michael Stivic, which we won't know him as, or a lot of young people won't know, and All in the Family. So Archie Bunker was the character in that, called him Meathead. And that nickname, Meathead, followed him for life. Even when he was a director, all the older actors would call him Meathead.
But the thing is this, our listeners out there, do you know what meathead actually means? It's not really a nice word.
Oh, yeah, I've used it before.
But it kind of means like saying like you're a dummy or like
Correct.
살짝 약간 멍청하다.
Yes,
like 멍청이
correct,
kind of.
yeah.
It's not a great.
Yeah, don't use it to somebody you respect.
Definitely.
But here is something that shows how respected he was as an actor. He won 2 Primetime Emmy Awards for his role on All in the Family as an actor.
Okay.
Before he became a director. But then he made the big change, moved into directing, and obviously became one of the most beloved directors of all time.
Sure.
But not just in one genre. As I mentioned before, some of those movies, I mean, Misery?
Oh.
My
with
goodness.
Kathy Bates.
Yeah,
that
that was one of the most, I
우리
still get...
미저리 다 아시잖아요. Like, oh, yes.
So you got Misery, When Harry Met Sally,
So
A Few
different.
Good Men.
Oh my
They're
gosh.
so different. So not just one genre.
Yeah, talk about just like a wide scope in which he, sprinkled his talent everywhere.
Yes, sprinkled some fairy dust everywhere.
Yes.
He wasn't just a one-trick pony. And also he had real recognition for his career. He's been listed with 24 wins and 36 nominations across major awards.
Yes.
He also has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Right.
And also the Chaplin Award from Film at Lincoln Center in 2014. So a couple of short stories before I go to the next person.
Sure.
First, he was very close to his father, a famous comedian, Carl Reiner.
He's really famous,
For some people who don't know him, he's the old guy on, what's that? The one with the robbery. They go robbing casinos.
Oh.
With Ocean's 11.
Yes. I was like, George Clooney.
I was going to write it here and I forgot about Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13.
Yes.
So he's the old guy on there. That's Rob Reiner. So Rob once said his dad was his idol. And Rob talked about how deeply he admired his father even as a kid. I was going to tell some of Rob Reiner's, his Carl Reiner's jokes, but they're not airworthy.
Yes, not on public radio.
Not on public radio. Okay. Secondly, people who worked with Rob often described him as kind and supportive.
Sure.
So I've put here Zoe, but it's a Zoe Deschanel, who worked with him on New Girl, said he was fatherly, gave him great advice, and was very, very warm with the cast.
Yes.
So he wasn't just a director, he was a very warm director and made them all feel comfortable, which some directors do not do.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of them are very controlling, just like one of the ones I mentioned last week.
Yes, and that word fatherly, obviously looking at the word, it means like, feels like a dad, like you said, warm, like 아버지 같은 그런 느낌, like 되게 굉장히 다정한 아빠.
Yes.
So that was his public, persona and how he treated people.
Yep.
So I think that's why when people heard about him and obviously his wife as well.
Yes.
At first, when I saw the news alert, I was like, oh, he's pretty young. I wonder how he had passed.
Yes.
And then, of course, the details started to emerge of the fact that it was murder allegedly done by his son.
Yeah.
Yeah, their son, yes.
And there's also a story that connects to one of his most famous movies, and When Harry Met Sally.
Yes.
The famous scene there.
Yes.
The person at the end, the woman at the end who
Yes.
says, I want some of that.
Isn't that his mom or something?
That's his mother.
Yeah.
So that little family detail became a piece of movie history.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a lovely detail. And finally, a lovely detail from a recent Guardian tribute piece.
Yes.
The writer said that meeting Rob Reiner made him feel warm and like a visit from Santa Claus. So it was warm, friendly, generous with his time.
Yes. Well, is that a segue?
Yes, it is.
To our next story?
Not the best, but it's the best I could
You're
do.
trying. I feel you.
I'm trying.
Okay. You are trying. I feel it.
Okay, so we're going on to Santa Claus.
So we're talking about the actual Santa Claus?
The actual Santa Claus, not a real person. Oh, sorry.
We didn't give a disclaimer. What if young kids are listening?
Maybe.
For the parents of young kids like that are under the age of 10.
I just talked about that with my last week.
Turn down the radio for the next 2 minutes or 3 minutes, yes. Vasana, you're so terrible and you're
just
laughing about it.
Just call me the Grinch.
You
The
are.
Grinch.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Santa Claus. But he is not just one figure.
Yes. No, he's not. So let's start with the oldest version.
Yes.
St. Nicholas.
St. Nicholas.
He lived in the 4th century in what is now Turkey.
Uh-huh.
He was known for helping the poor and secretly giving gifts. So that is that idea of quiet generosity.
Sure.
Is the heart of Santa. Santa.
So what does generosity mean in Korean, Vasana?
Not what I just did.
Oh, yeah, that's the
well,
opposite.
It's kind of. I'm helping them in their future. I'm helping them
like
from getting...
관대하다, 관대함. You know, you're being generous, being kind with what you have, right?
So the next oldest was the Netherlands. So here we meet Sinterklaas. So he arrives early in December, and brings gifts to children.
Sure.
So Dutch immigrants later brought this tradition to America.
Yes.
And the name Sinterklaas stuck and became Santa Claus in English.
So
we have a name change there.
Yes, we have St. Nicholas, and then we have Sinterklaas, and then
now,
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Yes.
So now in England, this is where we get Father Christmas.
Yes.
So he was not only about giving gifts and not usually about giving gifts. It was about food, warmth, celebration. Basically the feeling of Christmas itself.
Yes.
The Christmas spirit.
Yes, the Christmas spirit.
Which I told you earlier about.
So what is the Christmas spirit? How would we explain that in Korean to our...
The only word I know for spirit or feeling is 분위기.
약간 연말 분위기.
Okay.
Kind of,
let's stay
holiday
with that.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next, Germany and Austria. So many children here wait for Christkind.
Ooh.
So Kind means child, like kindergarten. And Christ, obviously Christ. So the Christ child.
Ooh.
So in some homes, Santa does not come at all.
Yes.
Christkind does. The Christ child does.
And we have a message from William.
Oh, no.
In San Francisco.
Oh, don't tell me his children are listening.
He said, "No Santa, I'm crushed." So William isn't a full adult, but he's just, pulling your leg. Yes.
Go. What time is it over there? Go have an eggnog. Now, moving on to Finland, one of my favorites because of the name. And when I saw the name, I thought, this sounds really Korean.
Okay, what does it sound?
Jorupuki.
What?
Jorupuki.
Jorupuki?
That sounds really Korean. So it really means Christmas goat.
Oh.
So long story short, old winter goat traditions mixed with Santa over time. So they called him Jorupuki. So he's the Christmas goat.
Goat, like real goat, like not greatest of all time, but
not
like
greatest of all time. Yeah,
goat.
Yomso.
Okay.
Yeah.
Santa goat. Interesting.
Santa goat. Again, listening. From there, we jump east to Russia.
Yes.
They have Grandfather Frost. It's a little bit more.
Grandfather Frost. Okay.
Yeah, because it's cold at Christmas, and so they call him Ded Moroz. So it's not Father Christmas per se. It's their equivalent of Father Christmas. So he brings gifts, but usually on New Year's Eve, not on Christmas Day. So it's not a Christian thing there. It's their tradition there.
Right.
So do we get frost here in Korea?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Do we? Yeah, but in certain parts.
Too many cars driving around from 6 a.m. in the morning to have frost.
But in other parts of the country, of course, there's definitely frost.
Yeah.
And even in Busan, it depends. Like on a really, really cold day, unusually cold day where we have sub-zero temperatures, you might see a little bit. I mean, we have snow once in a while too. Once in a blue moon.
For about 30 minutes.
And then, I know, but it like dissipates as it's like coming down, so.
And I think the best one here is Italy.
Oh, what do they have in Italy?
In Italy, they have two.
Oh.
So the oldest one, or the older one, is a female. And the female one is called, and if there are any Italians out there, I am sorry, I'm butchering your language. Babbo Natale.
누구한테 바보라는 거예요?
No.
Okay, so that's like that's one character.
And Le Bafana.
Oh,
so
I'm
Le
thinking.
Bafana is the older one.
La Befana sounds like the female, no?
Correct.
Okay.
So she's the female. She's the woman who gave presents to the good children on the 12th day of Christmas, which is actually the 6th of January. So 12 days of Christmas start from December 25th. That's the first, second, third. So on the 12th day of Christmas, she gives the good children presents and the bad ones coal.
Coal, like
coal.
Like 석탄 coal?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
That's what you'll be getting.
Yes.
You're so terrible, ruining Christmas and Santa
if
Claus.
anything.
Yes.
And the latest, or rather the more modern one was Pavo Natal, which is the male figure. And they adopted that after World War II.
Interesting.
And I wonder which country they got that from. And so, yeah.
Well, we're going to have to call it a wrap, but thank you for giving us, of course, we talked about Rob Reiner.
Yep.
And this figure, Santa Claus, that does exist.
That does exist.
Yes. In the hearts of all of us. Well, thank you. We'll check in with you next week.
Yes.
But Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Indeed. Thank you, Vasana. It's time to wrap up hour number 1. And we have a song request from, Vasana. DJ, play a Christmas song. This is by Cher and Kelly Clarkson. I'll be back at 8.
I should be asleep by the heat of the fire. I'm on my way out, and I'm gonna stay out. I can feel the pulse as I walk in the door. Take me through the crowd to the middle of the floor. The red and the green lights are hitting me just right. Nothing more, nothing more, nothing less, nothing less. I got one request. DJ, play a Christmas song. I wanna be dancing all night long. It's cold outside, but it's warm in here, and that's the only thing I want this year. DJ, play a Christmas song. I wanna be dancing all night long. It's tough outside, but it's love in here, and that's the only thing I want this year. I wanna be dancing, dancing. I wanna be dancing, dancing. I wanna be dancing, dancing. That's the only thing I want this year. Everybody here must be feeling the same. Need a little joy and a little escape. Feeling the spirit. You just wanna hear it. Nothing more, nothing more, nothing less, nothing less. I got one request. DJ, play a Christmas song. I wanna be dancing all night long. It's cold outside, but
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
I was so busy this morning. I didn't even get to check my messages. I almost got hit.
Here comes the safety hero. Stop right there, Smombi. Put your phone away. Keep your head up. Look around.
What was I doing? Thank you. I'm finally free from being a smombie.
As you just heard, even a quick text could lead to a serious accident. This kind of behavior has a name, smombi, a word created by combining smartphone and zombie.
Walk with your head up and check your surroundings before you move. Let's build a safer traffic culture and keep our streets free from smombies. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어 방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도, 문구점 김 사장님도, 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, Wavers. This is Spotlight News at 8 o'clock. Special counsel expected to indict ex-first couple. The Minjungi Special Counsel is expected to indict former President Yoon Suk-yeol and his wife Kim Gun-hee this week as his investigation period ends on December 28th. The counsel on Saturday questioned Yoon, who is accused of colluding with his wife to obtain favorable polling results ahead of the 2022 presidential election from a firm linked to power broker Myung Tae-gyun. It also questioned the head of the new Reform Party, Lee Jun-suk, on allegations of collusion with the former first couple for nearly 10 hours yesterday. SKT ordered to pay 100,000 won per consumer over data leak. The Korea Consumer Agency ordered SK Telecom to pay 100,000 won per user in compensation in a consumer dispute mediation case following its massive data breach earlier this year. The agency said that the joint government-private sector investigation and the Personal Information Authority's ruling showed that the hacking incident caused damage to consumers. If SK Telecom accepts the verdict within 15 days of notice, the agency will take steps to provide compensation to all 23 million consumers with an estimated payout of about 2.3 trillion won. Seoul and Washington to hold simultaneous discussions next year on summit agreements. South Korea and the United States will have several discussions at once next year on implementing agreements reached in the summits between their leaders, said National Security Advisor Wi Sung-nak. Wi's comments came after he visited Washington earlier in the week to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Energy Chris Wright. The South Korean NSA office has formed separate task forces for nuclear power submarines and for uranium enrichment to prepare for working level talks with the U.S. "26 South Koreans arrested and one rescued in Cambodia. 26 South Korean nationals were apprehended during a joint police crackdown at a scam center in a Cambodia-Vietnam border town last week, with one Korean freed from confinement, according to the National Police Agency. The Seoul Phnom Penh joint team has apprehended 92 scam suspects and rescued 2 Korean victims so far this month. President Lee Jae-myung expressed his appreciation to the officers involved in the operation and pledged stronger international cooperation to eradicate such crimes. Israel approves new Jewish settlements in occupied West Bank. Israel has approved a proposal for 19 new Jewish settlements in the occupied West Bank and the government's push in the territory that poses a further threat to the possibility of a Palestinian state. The approval by the Security Cabinet increases the number of settlements in the West Bank by nearly 50% under the current government. Settlements are considered illegal under international law. The approval comes as the U.S. pushes Israel and Hamas to move ahead with the second phase of the Gaza ceasefire, which calls for a possible pathway to a Palestinian state, something the settlements are aimed at preventing. And this was Spotlight News. This is your special interview. Tensions between the United States and Venezuela have escalated sharply as of late. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered a total blockade on sanctioned oil tankers entering and leaving the country. And U.S. forces have seized multiple Venezuelan-linked tankers near its waters in recent days. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has rejected Nicolas Maduro's legitimacy as a president, and Washington has expanded sanctions against him and his family. So today, we're going to take a dive into the legality of this blockade under international law and its potential regional consequences with an expert guest. Joining us today is Dr. Donald Rothwell, professor of international law at the Australian National University with a specific focus on the law of the sea, and also chair of ILA Study Group on International Law, Human Rights, and Islands. Hi, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Yes, how would you describe the current state of U.S.-Venezuela relations after the latest blockade orders? So is it more of a turning point or a continuation of these tensions as of late?
Well, clearly they've been ratcheting up over the course of the last few weeks, and then especially in the last week, as you say, when the United States seized the first tanker called the Skipper about 9 days ago. And then most importantly, over the weekend, both in Korea and Australia, the United States has seized 2 more tankers, including one just a few hours ago, our time. So the United States is continuing to ratchet up the imposition of this so-called blockade, which President Trump announced. And it would appear to be fairly clear that the United States is seeking to impose increasing economic and political and legal sanctions and constraints around the Venezuelan regime.
And so, Dr. Rothwell, we're curious, in terms of the legal or diplomatic implications of the U.S. targeting these Venezuelan oil shipments, what are we talking about here, the logistics of this?
Well, perhaps we'll talk first of all about the legality and then we can talk about the logistics. So from a legal perspective, the United States is entirely able to impose its own domestic sanctions under US law. And the United States has had a long-running sanctions regime, including against some of the shipping that it's now seeking to interdict. The difficulty, though, from an international law perspective is that whilst the United States can have those sanctions in place and it can enforce those sanctions in US ports or it can enforce those sanctions in US waters, the United States is, of course, seeking to enforce these sanctions in the high seas, in the waters off the Caribbean and off the waters adjacent to the Venezuelan coast. That those are not waters in which US law applies and in which the core principles of the freedom of navigation apply and operate. Logistically, however, we can say that the United States has significantly increased its military presence, its military naval presence in particular in that part of the Southern Caribbean over the course of the last few weeks. The Trump administration has spoken about an armada of US naval vessels being in those waters. So the United States quite clearly has this capability to enforce these laws at the moment, given the presence of significant US warships in the area.
Yes. And in terms of these U.S. sanctions, how might these sanctions and the blockade impact Venezuela's domestic situation, both politically and economically, at least in the short term?
Yeah, well, economically, it's very difficult to say. At the moment, there's sort of been random interdictions of some of these vessels. Many of these vessels are oil-carrying tankers. So they're causing some disruption to the oil trade out of Venezuela. But at the moment, I would say that that's probably minimal disruption. I think what perhaps is more significant is the US military build-up in the region, which we've spoken about, which has been ongoing now for quite a few weeks. But now we're actually seeing this US military presence actually having an impact in terms of it interdicting these vessels. And of course, in addition to that, we have the rhetoric coming out of the Trump White House through not only President Trump and his social media commentary, but also senior members of the Trump administration seeking to intensify this pressure on the Maduro administration. So as we've said, it's a gradual warming up of the position in terms of the US threatening economic and diplomatic conduct against Venezuela.
Yes. And how are other countries responding and how do they fit into the picture even? Maybe the neighboring countries in Latin America. What do you say on this front?
Yeah, and that's interesting because the vessel that was seized last week, the skipper, it was flagged to Guyana. And one of the vessels flagged seized over the weekend was flagged to Panama. So this will start to have some impact upon other Latin American countries.
Yes.
Some of the oil that's being exported, we don't know the precise destination, but we do know that Venezuela has been providing Cuba, for example, with a lot of oil. So I think we can say that Venezuela's Latin American neighbours will certainly be getting nervous about this US action and US interdiction, but we haven't really seen much of a response from these other countries at the moment. The obvious body that could seek to intervene would be the Organization of American States, the Latin American multilateral regional organization that deals with, to a degree, security matters within the region, but I'm not aware of any comments from that organization. We did see Venezuela last week call for the United Nations to become involved, and that I think is particularly a call to the United Nations Secretary General. But the Secretary General has made an observation about the importance of both Venezuela and the United States complying with international law. But I think that at the moment it's most unlikely that we'd see the Security Council become involved in this matter because, of course, we know that the United States, as a permanent member of the Security Council, would be able to exercise a veto on any Security Council intervention.
Right. And so according to the Trump administration, President Trump himself said that he is not ruling out a military action against Venezuela. So from your perspective, Dr. Rothwell, what would it take legally and diplomatically for something like that to actually happen? Is it just more rhetoric, or is there reason to be concerned with what's being said?
Well, certainly one has to assume that the US military presence is designed not only to threaten the possibility of US military action, but there's also been discussion and debate about US military strikes on Venezuelan territory. And of course, part of the context and the background to this and related matters is, of course, a lot of concern within the Trump administration about the flow of drugs from Venezuela into the United States, though it needs to be said that the actual volume of drugs directly flowing from Venezuela into the United States, the quantity does not seem to be quite as great as the Trump administration is suggesting. But nevertheless, I guess one additional step that the United States will leave open is the possibility of strikes on some of these narco-terrorist operators in Venezuela that the United States has expressed a lot of concern about. But ultimately, it would seem that the real goal of the United States is to bring about some form of regime change. And to that end, I guess if the United States is seeking to remove Nicolas Maduro, would the United States seek to negotiate some sort of safe passage for Maduro into a third country where he might be able to find a safe haven? And to that end, the United States, of course, and President Trump loves doing deals. Would they be seeking to make some sort of arrangement like that, provide Maduro with an offer that he might ultimately find quite attractive to really relinquish his power base in Venezuela?
Yes, indeed. And as we wrap up today, final question for you, Dr. Rothwell, is this, looking ahead, what possible diplomatic pathways, if any, do you see for easing the tensions? Because we've talked about, the past few weeks, they've been ratcheting up the tensions. We want to ease them. So what do you think?
Well, look, I mentioned that obviously the United Nations could play a role. We could see some intervention of the United Nations Secretary General. But we also know that the United States doesn't take a great deal of prominence or weight to the views of the United Nations at the moment. So unless we can see some honest third-party broker seeking to intervene in this matter, I don't see that there's going to be an immediate resolution of these tensions for the time being.
I see. Well, of course, we'll keep an eye on the situation, but thanks for breaking it down for us, what's been happening in the last few weeks to our audience and our listeners. And take care. Happy holidays, Dr. Rothwell.
Good to speak to you. Bye now.
Once again, this was Dr. Donald Rothwell for a special interview talking about what has been happening with the U.S. and Venezuela. We've been reporting on the incidents, but to get the full background and also current status report, plus what might happen in the future, once again, our special interview. We're going to take, actually, I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's now 8:16. Here's your traffic update. There is an accident on Nakdong-Namno from Sunsan Three-Way intersection to Bonnoksan Three-Way intersection right past Seongsan. So it's causing congestion right now. There's congestion on Daedong-Hwamyeong Bridge from Hwamyeong to Taedong. There's traffic on Mandukdaero from Sukdung to Deokjeon intersection. It's looking slow on Yeonsuro from Suyong to Mangmi intersection as well. So it is a chilly winter solstice. Dongji at 2 degrees right now. It's going to go to up to 10 degrees across the nation. A sudden drop in temperatures across the Gyeongsang area with most of the country seeing sub-zero temperatures. So bundle up today. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Waglwagle Tea Time with Haley. She's in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So this first issue, it's back into like public discourse again, lowering the age of criminal minors.
This again. So the age of criminal prosecution in South Korea is 14.
Okay.
And of course, this has always been contentious and it's back into the public discourse. So that means for 10 to 13-year-olds who allegedly commit criminal offenses, they're sent to juvenile facilities or juvenile detention centers.
Yes.
So this debate, why is it back? Again, going back to your opening, the broadcast government briefings. So this took place at the government briefing on Friday for the Justice Ministry as well as the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family. So President Lee Jae-myung first floated the question. He said there are people making, quote unquote, all sorts of trouble and claiming or saying that they are criminal minors, and this has prompted arguments that the age should be lowered yet again.
Yes, and first, what did the Justice Ministry say about this?
Right, so Justice Minister Chung Sung-ho said that he, as far as he's aware, there is a bill at the National Assembly seeking to lower this age of criminal prosecution from the current 14 to 12.
Okay.
He stated that the Justice Ministry does not have an official position, but will proactively review what's going on.
Okay.
And added that there may be a need to lower the standard for drug or sexual crimes, and there might be a limit to the so-called correctional or guidance type of education, implying that the Justice Ministry may be on board with lowering that criminal age.
However, the Gender Equality Minister didn't see it quite that way.
Right, and you do have to look at the role of the two ministries.
Yes.
Gender Equality Minister Won Min-kyung said that the ministry sees adolescents, so teenagers, more under the scope of protection and growth. And lowering the criminal prosecution age would need to be contemplated and discussed even more. So she wasn't, against it per se, but we do need to approach this from a more careful perspective.
I see. So those are the two ministers. What about the president? What did he say about the matter?
He was basically right in the middle, more of a mediating role, saying that further discussion is necessary. He also directed the government to make preparations so that this could be actually on the agenda at the cabinet meeting.
I see. Thanks for reporting on this. Let's move on. There are often these moving walkways at subway or train stations to help travelers, especially if you have luggage, suitcases. But this one in Seoul is really turning heads, and I don't think it's for the right reason.
Because this one may set the record, unofficially at least, for the shortest moving walkway. This, by the way, is between Seoul's Magok and Magok-naru stations. It comes to a grand total of 5 meters.
5 meters? That's it.
5 meters, yes. And we have a picture.
Yes.
So by the way, it's gone viral on social media. I've seen media reports citing it up to 11 meters, but social media initial post says 5. Anyways, it is unconventionally and strangely short is the point. And 5 meters, if we're going by that metric, is about 7 steps.
So there's only one question left to ask. Why?
What purpose
does
that serve? So this is for the underground walkway, the corridor that connects the two stations. Seoul City apparently will get to the who of it all, but gave permission and stipulated that there must be a moving walkway in this underground passage area.
Okay.
However, apparently there wasn't a clear regulation as to how long that walkway had to be, that it just had to be there. So the person who posted this initially on social media speculated that contractors went with the minimal length just for the sake of, we have it. There we go. Checks the box. And then now we get to the official explanations of it all. Gangseogu district, where in Seoul's Gangseogu, explained that they actually wanted moving walkways installed the entire way throughout the passageway. However, the contractor said no because the pathway also covers private property.
Oh.
So the deal was they could only apparently install the walkway on public property, and that apparently led to this 5-meter strip. So that's, one side of it. And upon complaints, by the way, the district is looking into removing the walkway, and it's currently been turned off.
Interesting. But apparently there's debate over who's responsible for this, because I'm thinking 5-meter walkway, I mean, does
somebody
it help?
gave permission, somebody signed off on it, and I'm sure there was a 5-meter, if there was a 5-meter length stipulated, where there are no questions asked.
Right.
There's currently a back and forth between Gangseogu district and the city of Seoul over who gave the final say. So the district said that it had made the recommendation to Seoul City for a full-length moving walkway between in the passageway, but it was Seoul that only decided to install the moving walkway on property that's owned by the public.
Okay.
The district also refuted that they're saying this actually isn't a waste of taxpayer funding because it was fully funded by the private developers. Seoul City hit back saying that it recommended a full walkway, but the final decision came after negotiations between the district and the private developer.
Wow, that's definitely they said. So
it's woggling.
Hence, we're talking about it. All right, let's talk about this. The richest man in the world just got richer.
And who are we talking about?
Elon Musk?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So a U.S. state Supreme Court restored a massive pay package for Elon Musk to basically be able to buy split-adjusted shares, ultimately $139 billion worth of stocks. And that's according to closing time on Friday.
Yes.
The package was initially voted way back in 2018, a Tesla board for Musk to basically receive it. But the Delaware's lower courts blocked the package from going to Musk, saying that it's not fair for the shareholders. However, Delaware's Supreme Court ruled that stopping him from getting the pay package would basically leave him uncompensated for the time and effort over a period of 6 years.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. But I have another question.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
How rich is he?
Right. So
Yes.
Musk, by the way, is already the richest person in the world. We know this. Estimated net worth of $644 billion. That's according to Bloomberg and their billionaire tracker. Of course, a large chunk of that's not in his bank account.
Yes.
Net worth, meaning his shares, 413 million shares of Tesla. And of course, other companies that he has as well.
Right.
The shares are worth $199 billion as of Friday's closing price. Tesla stock is near the record high it reached earlier this week. Also, if he meets his goals that the board has set, he is on path to become a trillionaire. So, yeah.
Wow.
He's rich.
is
Real rich.
Filthy rich.
That's,
yes. All right. For our final story, we're going to talk about Santas. Thank you, Vasana, once again, for just bursting our bubble. We have, though, Santa's breaking into a supermarket.
A group of Santas, not the real one, because Santa's real. Vasana's just wrong. A group of people dressed up as Santas marched into a supermarket in Canada, took thousands of dollars worth of groceries, and walked out. So we're talking about roughly 40 members of a group that's called Robins des Rues, or Robins of the Alleys, that participated in this alleged robbery on Monday local time.
Oh my gosh, like the name, is it like Robin Hood? I mean, why did they do this? Oh, really?
It's Robin. It's Robin Hood. They released a statement basically recognizing this, and the food would be distributed to the needy. That this Robin Hood style stunt, it was intended to highlight the spiralingly high cost of living crisis in Canada, and also pushed basic necessities increasingly out of reach for ordinary Canadians. And they actually criticized companies, including grocery store chains, outright, saying that a handful of companies are holding people's basic needs hostage and also, quote, suffocating the population. The Robins deposited some of the groceries in a public square at the foot of a Christmas tree.
Yes.
And then added that the rest will be donated through food banks.
Regardless of how noble the intent was, though, isn't this still robbery? I mean, they're stealing.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you're dressed up like Santa or Elf on the Shelf or whatever costume.
Right.
The grocery chain Metro, which was the chain that they operated out of, said that shoplifting was a criminal act and unacceptable. Its spokesperson said that price increases were influenced by factors including disruptions in the global supply chain, the larger issue, volatility in commodity prices, international trade conditions, and retail crime, aka shoplifting.
Yes.
Not a huge issue in South Korea, though, but over on social media and media reports, I've certainly seen a prevalence increase in shoplifting in North America, where I do a lot of my internet surfing, to the point where things are just locked under glass cases.
Literally locked down.
And we're talking pens and little things, not just cigarettes or alcohol as we are used to.
Or that ice cream that we all like, right?
Oh,
it's under lock and key.
Right, because retail crime has become so prevalent. In Canada, shoplifting has been on the rise and accounted for more than $9 billion of lost sales in 2024.
Right. I mean, maybe the cause was noble, but stealing is still not a thing. All right. Well, thank you for going over all the Woggly news. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
See you tomorrow.
It is time for a little break. So here it is. This is 25th by Tori Kelly.
Don't you know that Christmas would be incomplete if you're not here with me? Sugar plums ain't half as sweet as you. Someone go to Santa, I don't need no gifts. Got nothing on my list. Don't you know my only wish is to hold you on the 25th. Season's here, lights appear, spread the cheer everywhere. What a year it has been. Got me dreaming of a place where we're safe from the cold your embrace. So I just can't wait to be home again. Catch the midnight flight, no more silent nights. I'll be by your side. Oh, don't you know that Christmas would be incomplete if you're not here with me? Sugar plums ain't half as sweet as you. Someone go to Santa, I don't need no gifts. Got nothing on my list. Don't you know my only wish is to hold you on the 25th.
is now time for News in Depth. We have our BFM newscaster, Claire, in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're looking so festive. I love your
know.
sweater. So cute.
Dressed up for the Christmas.
Yes. Hey, for a text topic, though, if you're on a tight budget, what's the first thing that you're willing to give up versus something that no matter what, I have to keep this, or maybe you have no other choice?
Obviously, would be eating out. Less eating out if I have a tight budget. But
yes.
Maybe the one thing I cannot cut out is coffee.
Oh, for me, that's like
it's different.
Yes.
Coffee is not included in the eating out.
It's not counting towards the food.
Yes.
It's a necessity. I
it's
get
the
it.
fuel.
So
the day.
are you still enjoying coffee these days? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, but not so much, right?
Not so much. Decaffeine.
I see. Okay. Well, we're going to jump into News in Depth. We're going to start with this story, and I mentioned it in the opening because it's such a big story. We're talking about SK Telecom. It's more than just like a compensation decision at this point. It raises questions about how large-scale data breaches are handled in practice. So can you take us through step by step?
Yes. So at the center of this case is SK Telecom and a hacking incident that occurred earlier this year involving one of its core network systems. South Korea's Consumer Dispute Mediation Committee has now concluded that personal data was leaked as a result of that incident, and that affected consumers are entitled to compensation.
That's right. But this wasn't a court ruling, just so we clarify, but it still carries weight.
That's right. The committee's decision comes through the collective dispute mediation process, which is designed to provide a faster, non-judicial route for resolving large-scale consumer disputes. While it is technically a mediation decision, it is based on formal fact-finding and carries strong persuasive force, especially companies choose to accept it.
Yes. And what exactly did the committee decide in terms of compensation? So break it down for us.
So for consumers who applied for mediation, the committee set compensation at a value of 100,000 won, 10만 won per person, rather than a single cash payout.
Right.
The compensation is structured in two parts, including a 50,000 won discount on mobile service fees and 50,000 won points of usable like cash through affiliated partner companies.
So some people may be wondering, why structure it that way?
So the committee explained that this approach reflects both the nature of the damage and practical considerations. The service fee discount directly relates to the telecom service affected by the breach, while the points provide flexible compensation that can be used more broadly.
Yes. Well, we're going to go back to how it started in the first place. What triggered the mediation request?
The case began after a hacking incident involving SK Telecom's home subscriber server, or HSS. This server plays a key role in managing subscriber authentication and network access, meaning it handles sensitive personal and technical data.
Right.
In May, 58 consumers filed a collective mediation request stating that their personal information had been exposed and that they had suffered harm as a result.
Yes, and a critical issue is whether that harm could be clearly established.
Exactly. The committee said its decision relied heavily on two sets of findings. First one, the results of a joint public-private investigation team that examined the incident itself. Second, enforcement actions taken by the Personal Information Protection Commission several months later. Based on those findings, the committee concluded that personal data leakage did occur, that consumer damage was recognized, and that SK Telecom bears responsibility for compensating affected users.
So this isn't just about like inconvenience or anxiety. It's an official recognition of damage.
Yes, indeed. That recognition is important because it sets a benchmark for how consumer harm from data breaches is evaluated.
And now that part, the part that's drawing the most attention, this ruling could extend far beyond these 58 applicants, right?
So that's the key point. The committee stated that if SK Telecom accepts the mediation decision, it should take steps to ensure that the same compensation is provided to other affected users who did not participate in the mediation process.
Right.
To do that, SK Telecom would need to submit a broader compensation plan and carry out additional procedures.
And that is why the numbers are escalating quickly.
They really do.
Yes.
Estimates cited by the committee suggest that the number of affected users could reach around 23 million. If compensation were applied across that entire group, the total cost could amount to roughly 2.3 trillion won.
Which would make this one of the largest consumer compensation cases related to any type of data breach.
Yes, in terms of scale, it would be unprecedented in South Korea.
But the question is, what happens next procedurally? Because it's not set in stone, not yet.
No, the committee will formally notify SK Telecom of the mediation decision. From the date the decision is received, the company has 15 days to inform the committee whether it will accept the ruling.
Yes, and now, so we're putting the ball in SK's court, right? The company's response.
Indeed. Acceptance would open the door to broader compensation, while rejection could push affected customers toward individual lawsuits or further legal action.
Yes, and the thing is this, beyond the compensation, there's a wider implication here.
There is. The committee chair emphasized that this decision is not only about restoring consumer losses, but also about encouraging stronger technical safeguards and institutional measures to prevent similar breaches in the future.
Right, so we're talking about accountability and prevention, not just being like a single payoff.
That's right. It reflects a growing expectation that companies handling large volumes of personal data take a more proactive role in protecting it and in responding when failures occur.
Yes. So we're going to leave that story there for now. We'll give you details on that when they come along. We're going to delve into our second story. It involves some sensitive issues in the Korea-U.S. alliance. So let's talk about what Seoul and Washington agreed to do next year.
So South Korea and the United States agreed to begin simultaneous sector-by-sector consultations next year to implement agreements already reached by their leaders. These talks will cover three major areas at the same time, including Korea's plan to build nuclear-powered submarines, civilian uranium enrichment, and the processing of spent nuclear fuel.
So when officials say simultaneous, what does that really mean in practice? In reality?
So it means there will be no sequencing or prioritizing among the issues. According to National Security Office Chief Wi Sung-rak, all three areas will be launched together rather than handling one topic first and postponing others. This is notable because traditionally these subjects have been discussed cautiously or not at all due to legal and non-proliferation sensitivities.
Yes, so it seems like this is a shift in how openly and broadly these issues are going to be handled.
Yes, the agreement reflects a decision by both governments to address interconnected issues in a coordinated way rather than treating them as isolated cases. For example, nuclear power submarines cannot be discussed independently of fuel supply. And fuel supply cannot be separated from enrichment and reprocessing rules. Handling them together allows technical, legal, and policy questions to be aligned.
I see. So this agreement came out of high-level talks in Washington?
That is correct. The understanding was reached during Wi's visit to Washington, D.C., where he met with senior U.S. officials, including the Secretary of State and the Energy Secretary. Those meetings focused on how to move from political commitments made at the presidential level to practical implementation.
So what kind of prep work is happening on the Korean side?
So Seoul has already begun internal preparations. The National Security Office has formed dedicated task forces, one focused on nuclear power submarines and another on uranium-related issues. These teams are designed to handle technical assessments, legal analysis, and negotiation strategy so that working-level talks can begin quickly once U.S. counterparts are formally designated.
Right. So the whole nuclear submarine issue in particular faces legal constraints under U.S. law, I hear.
Yes, U.S. law strictly limits the transfer of military nuclear materials. We explained it that both sides agreed to pursue a separate bilateral arrangement based on Article 91 of the U.S. Atomic Energy Act. That provision allows the transfer of nuclear material for military purposes if authorized by the U.S. president.
Right. And so this is the same legal pathway used in the Australia case, right?
Exactly. Australia is pursuing nuclear power submarines under the AUKUS partnership.
Yes.
Using a similar legal mechanism to navigate U.S. non-proliferation laws. By referencing these framework, Seoul and Washington are signaling that they intend to stay within existing legal boundaries rather than create an entirely new system.
So how does this connect to the broader nuclear fuel cycle discussions then?
Uranium enrichment and spent fuel reprocessing are highly regulated because of their potential military implications.
Right.
However, South Korea has long sought greater autonomy in managing civilian nuclear fuel, particularly for energy security and waste management reasons. In a joint fact sheet released last month, the two governments stated that the United States supports Korea's pursuit of civilian uranium enrichment and spent fuel reprocessing as long as it complies with U.S. law and existing bilateral agreements.
I see. And that fact sheet also addressed nuclear submarines directly?
It certainly did. The document confirmed that the United States has approved Korea's plan to build nuclear power submarines and agreed to work closely with Seoul on fuel supply options. That approval is significant because it removes political uncertainty and shifts attention to technical and procedural implementation.
Right. So those are some of the details. But what's been said about the overall atmosphere between the two countries?
So we describe the current state of talks as positive, noting that U.S. officials have referred to the Korea-U.S. alliance as a model alliance. He said Seoul intends to maintain that momentum by accelerating follow-up discussions and ensuring that next year's consultations proceed without delay.
Yes, and so 2026 will become a year, I guess, of execution rather than negotiation in principle.
That's a fair summary. The political groundwork has largely been laid already.
Sure.
What remains is translating those agreements into detailed frameworks that satisfy alliance commitments, domestic laws, and international non-proliferation norms.
Yes, and obviously we'll be watching this closely. So thanks for giving us a lowdown on all of this. All right, moving on to our next story. We're going to turn to the Northeast Asia right now, where we're seeing some political tensions translate directly into economic uncertainty. We're talking about the latest between China and Japan.
So the situation centers on the cooling of relations between Japan and China, as we all know, following remarks by Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi regarding potential Japanese involvement in a Taiwan contingency.
Yes.
Since those comments were made last month, diplomatic friction has intensified, and then strain is now spilling into the economic sphere.
That's right, and we're seeing that most clearly with this stalled business delegation.
Yes, Japan's business community had been pushing to keep economic dialogue alive despite political tensions. Senior figures from major Japanese economic organizations requested that China invite a Japanese economic delegation to visit next month.
Okay.
The proposed delegation was expected to include leaders from Japan's top business groups, and the visit was framed explicitly as an effort to maintain economic and trade exchanges during a period of strained political relations.
Yes, the thing is, though, Beijing hasn't responded.
That is right. As of now, Chinese authorities have not given a clear answer, either approval or rejection.
Yes.
With less than a month remaining before the proposed visit window, that silence has led to growing speculation that the trip could be postponed or cancelled altogether.
Right. And so when we talk about diplomacy, silence can sometimes send a message of its own.
Exactly. While no official explanation has been offered, the lack of response itself is being interpreted as by observers as a sign of China's dissatisfaction with the current state of relations. Japanese media has quoted business leaders as saying that China's reaction does not appear particularly positive, adding to uncertainty on the Japanese side.
That's right. And what's been the argument from Japanese business leaders?
So their position has been that economic ties should, as much as possible, be insulated from political disputes. They argue that trade, investment, and people-to-people exchanges play a stabilizing role, even when diplomatic relations are under strain.
Yes.
This is why they have continued to pursue dialogue, even as political tensions have risen.
Yes, but politics and economics, at least for now, right? They're proving hard to separate.
They are. Since the Prime Minister's remarks last month, uncertainty has spread across multiple areas.
Yes.
Not only trade discussions, but also investment planning and broader economic cooperation. Companies on both sides are closely watching signals from governments because diplomatic friction can affect regulatory decisions, market access, and long-term business strategies.
Yes. So have there been any efforts to kind of ease tensions through other channels maybe?
Well, yes, Japanese lawmakers have made attempts as quiet, informal diplomacy. Members of Japan-China Friendship Group within Japan's parliament reportedly met with China's ambassador in Tokyo earlier this month, emphasizing the need to reduce tensions and sustain dialogue. They also conveyed interest in continuing parliamentary exchanges, including potential visits to China.
However, so far, those efforts haven't produced visible results.
That is correct. Chinese officials have not provided a clear response to those overtures either. As a result, the broader trajectory of bilateral relations remains uncertain.
Yes. So for a wrap-up, what does this mean for the bigger picture?
So it highlights how quickly political statements can ripple outward. What began as a diplomatic dispute has started to affect economic engagement, business confidence, and cross-border exchange. For companies and investors, the concern is not just the immediate issue, but whether prolonged uncertainty becomes a new normal.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you for going over all these stories in depth. And of course, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And we'll check
Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yes, everybody. This was Claire with News in Depth. It's time to wrap up our Monday morning together. This is the Monday before Christmas. So if you are celebrating, if you're still needing to do things, you still have a few days, but not many. So I hope that you are well on your way. Morning Wave in Busan, produced by Choi Ye-ji. We have our writers, Haley Sa, Soo Kim. I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back tomorrow. Final song is Love You on Christmas by Park Ye-rin. Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody.
Merry Christmas 그대와 함께 보내고 싶은 이 밤 다음날 일어나 열어보는 선물보다 더 기대되는 이 밤 특별한 날이라서 행복한 게 아냐 그저 그대와 함께라서 고요함이 깃드는 밤 몰아치는 한겨울의 파도 같은 그댄 나만의 크리스마스 나의 따뜻한 살던 날들과 달라 불안하고 외로운 맘 다 사라져 특별한 날이라서 행복한 게 아냐 그저 그대와 함께라서 고요함이 깃드는 밤 몰아치는 한겨울의 파도 같은 그대 나만의 크리스마스 나의 따뜻한 촛불 빛나